Hello and welcome back to the Last Place Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your co-host Ethan, joined once again by the one and only Ryan Traver. We have news. We have lots of news that is happening for Week 13. First of all, JT is probably going to be out for 2 weeks with thumb surgery. That's
Big
already
sad.
happened.
Big
So that
sad.
that is indeed big sad, especially for someone who owns him. But it's whatever because it's not playoffs. So he's going to be gone this week, next week, and then he'll be back for the playoffs. So I can live with that. As much as I need
Yep.
to be Alex this week, but it's okay. Um, Other than that, we've got Dallas Goedert is potentially back this week. They're saying they're pretty confident he's going to play. They're saying it's pretty likely, and he's pushing it to be there. So I'm guessing he's going to have some sort of brace on. I mean, it's just a fractured forearm, like you don't really need that.
Yeah, exactly. You
It's
don't
your
need that to
soft.
catch the ball.
No,
I
he has his
mean,
hands, dude.
yeah,
Soft. He's going to have like something padded and a brace on. He'll be fine.
it's not like he's a quarterback, and
Exactly. He's a tight end and nobody cares about those things. So um that's what's happening. And we wanted to kind of follow up off of our big questions last week because I think we really saw it week 12 in the Green Bay wide receiver room and the Texans wide receiver room. I mean, CJ Stroud is just MVP, but Tank Dell is absolutely to the moon. Nico played well too, but it was Tank Dell. And you got to remember, Tank Dell had a 60-yard catch taken away because of an illegal shift and like a 30 or 40-yard pass taken away because they absolutely robbed him of a sideline catch. So those are two
Mhm.
things to remember with his stat line. Like he should have had like almost 30 points again, right? Got robbed a little bit. So absolutely tank to the moon. And then Christian Watson on Thanksgiving was filthy.
Yeah, I agree with that. Tank. Obviously, we've been talking about him for weeks, and he's just
But it's
another
real.
level. Yeah. So I agree with that statement. That is 100%.
I feel like with Tank, we keep waiting for like, oh, like, haha, that was a really funny joke, Texans. And like the joke is just never coming. I don't think.
Yeah, I think the joke is that the Texans now have a wide receiver one. I think that's the
Yeah. First one
punchline.
since D Hop, which is
Yeah, yeah. So
good for you, Texans.
yeah,
Oh, it also came out today. There's a report that Panthers wanted to take CJ Stroud, and the owner said take Bryce.
that was a
So
mistake.
fire the owner? Are we on
I
board with
don't
it?
think you can fire the owner.
I think you can. Look at what happened in Washington.
I mean,
Start accusing him
the
of things.
organization can't fire the
No, just
owner.
start
I mean,
accusing him
the
of things
other
until
owners
something sticks.
can.
Like, oh, child labor, get him out. You know what I mean? Like, it
Oh
doesn't
my
have to be
gosh,
real. Get him out.
you terrible. You.
Oh, okay.
No,
Anyway,
I don't think that's going to happen.
well,
But
how about those
yeah,
Panthers keep on pounding, and maybe they'll stop sucking eventually. But
eventually, maybe with a new head coach.
yeah, bring in Matt Rule.
Oh God, no, no, no,
But
no,
yes, that
thank you.
I think that's all we have, right? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, that's about all for news. I mean, there's not much going on. So let's go on to our big
Good
question.
questions. Hey,
E.
Josh.
Oh,
Josh,
you want to go with Josh's? Okay,
start
let's
with
go
Josh.
with Josh's big question first. Um, Building your fantasy team for 2021 or 2024. Oh gosh, rank
Uh-huh.
these options for your RB2 spot. Eckler on a new team. So
Mm-hmm.
these are all hypotheticals. Eckler on a new team. Josh Jacobs on a new team. Saquon on a new team, or a top rookie running back available in the draft. Rank those. I know what my ranking would be.
Yeah, why don't you start with yours? I want to look at the running backs
I
class.
I am always in favor of a developmental running back that has young legs, um, and is on a new team. Depending on which team that is, I think I would take the top running back in the draft over any one of these guys. I know they're
And you've
proven.
been doing that forever.
I know, and it's worked. I mean, look at Brees Hall. I mean, yeah, he kind of hurt me last year, but I mean, it's worked. So, um, I would do top rookie running back with a close second being Josh Jacobs
Okay.
on a new team. I think he's a powerful running back. I think he's got a couple more years left in his legs. And then I would probably take Eckler and then Saquon. I don't know. Saquon's been injured too many times and has been ran down by that Giants offense. I just don't know about longevity there, whether or not he'd be able to last even, you know, 2 years in a new offense. So
Yeah.
at least
Um,
as a starter.
for me, I'm taking Josh Jacobs first. Um,
See, it was a close match for me.
I just think him on a different team with like an offense that's actually going to use him, like say for example, if the Chiefs traded for Jacobs, like oh my God. Anyways, but regardless, I think Jacobs first. I think second with these running backs would be top because like Trayvon Henderson is nice. Will Shipley out of Clemson is nice, and Trey Benson's nice. You also have Blake Corum
Yeah,
out
I
of
was going to say Blake Corum.
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, it's Michigan.
I'm gonna double check. Yeah, out of Michigan.
Yeah, it's Michigan.
So like any of those guys, I would, depending on where they get drafted to, I'd be willing to take a stab at that. Followed by, I'd actually flip what you said though. I would rather have Saquon over Eckler. Um,
Yeah.
he does have the wear and tear from the Giants, but on a different team that doesn't have the worst O line in football, and Danny Dimes as their $160 million quarterback, I'd take Saquon on that team over Eckler. Eckler's done. Like I think this year you've seen an injured Eckler, an Eckler that's not really super involved. Like he's been putting up 20-point performances, but I mean he's missed a lot of games. He's looked bad in a handful of games. Like I would rather have Saquon over Eckler every time.
Okay. I mean,
And
they're
that's
kind of
dynasty redraft and
they're kind of a close one for me. Yeah, in redraft it would be a little different because there's an element of I don't care what happens to him next year. You just
yeah.
you put him on your squad and you use them and lose them pretty much. In a dynasty league, I would not want one of them on my team because it's a gamble as to whether or not they're going to be back next year. So that's kind of my answer for that. I understand flipping Eckler and Saquon. That's understandable. It's just up to your preference. I don't favor the usage that Saquon has had on that offense, just because he has been literally used as everything, battering ram. Uh, I mean, he's been overused on that offense for years. So, um, yeah, let's go on to our next big question. Ethan, go ahead with yours.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep mine kind of fantasy relevant. This is a situation that I'm in right now personally, but my big question is, are you selling picks for 2024 and 2025 to make a playoff push? And if you're not, how do you know which way to go? Do you just think your team is ready to take over in playoffs and you'd rather risk losing and trying to get one of these QBs or wide receivers or running backs? Or what do you think? That is my question.
So my position in that is if you are making a playoff push, make it worth it. Um, when it comes to your fantasy squad, you always want to get younger players. You don't want to spend first round picks on, you know, aged players that might not even play two
On
years
Aaron
from now.
Jones,
Yeah, on Aaron Jones, Matthew Stafford, uh,
Kelsey,
Jared
big
Goff,
names, Josh,
like
not
yeah.
naming name,
So
Josh, you sick
but
freak.
yeah, but spending that much on a an aged player, um, it doesn't make sense to me in dynasty terms. It can set you back years if you lose your first, second, and third round picks in a trade for two or three players that might not even be on your team at the end of next year. And it does not make sense to me. You know, with those picks, yeah, you can go for a ship, but it's it's risky for your team as a whole. If you're going all in, sell every one of your picks. If you know for sure that these players will get you the ship, sell all your picks. Do it. But don't come crying when your team is literally like aged out of the game and you have like Tom Brady as your starting quarterback and he doesn't even play anymore. So, you know, don't you got
Hey,
to think
I got
smart.
Russell Wilson, Ryan. All right, I
Yeah,
made
but you got to think you got to think smart and keep your team young because that's where especially at running back, wide receiver is understandable getting an aged running back. They last a little longer. But running back, you need young players to cover your team.
well, and
So,
that's kind of what I spent these last 2 years doing on my team. You know, like end of year one, I sold Triple Crown Cooper Cup and got you know, a lot of value from him. And then last year I sold Eckler and got pretty good value for him. I didn't love that I sold Monty with Eckler. Wish I could take that part back. But other than that, like I got really good value out of
yeah.
selling Eckler. And my team got younger for it. Which has helped me this year. And it's helped my thinking of where I want to take my team going forward
Yeah.
because not only for this playoff push, which if you've been following me since the start, I was 0-5. I am now officially in the playoffs, so just gonna slide that quick plug in there. But like not only for this playoff run, but for like the next 3 years, I have a core set.
Yeah. And see that's what you need to do. You need to focus on maintaining your picks if you can. You know, if you want to stack picks for next year, if you're not sure if you're going to be able to make the ship, and you're just, you know, you're a playoff contender, but you don't know, you know, there's those two dominant teams in your league that are just going crazy, and you know you can't beat them in the ship.
Which we don't really have one of those. I mean,
Yeah,
if you could say
yeah, but
even
you
Josh,
can pull the ripcord and just go, hey, I'm selling my top two players
yeah,
and open bidding war. Have them. Sell them to contenders and just be like, here, have them. Give me your picks.
yeah.
So,
What
but
should be
that's
happening?
kind of my opinion on that.
Like
So,
for example, the biggest seller in our league should be Tyler. Tyler
yeah,
should absolutely be selling and not be greedy because his team, it looks really good on paper, but it is not going to work the way his team is set up. Because they're every
yeah,
without naming who's on his team, every single one of his player is boomer bust.
yeah.
And the reason why he's 4-8 is because it's boomer
That's what
bust.
it was.
Like,
It's boom or
like he
bust.
maybe had one or two guys, and then the rest of them, or that he'd always have one or two guys that would
Yeah,
be like 6 points, 5 points,
yeah,
4 points. It's like the rest of the team would be fairly consistent, but it was those like two guys that just absolutely killed him. Um,
yeah.
but Jacob's already sold, which good for Jacob. The other person who should be selling, I mean, potentially Michaela. I mean, her team is old.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, if I'm her, I'm trying to pick up some more first for this year. Um, but anyways, that's what I think with that. Like ultimately, you've got to decide with what you said, Ryan. You want to make sure you
Hmm.
keep getting younger, and if you can take the ship, you should go for it with your picks.
Yeah, definitely do it. Um, so onto mine, and we can make this just a real quick one. I put down two names, and I have different questions for both of them. Um, Jamar Chase. What are we
Okay.
doing about Jamar Chase without Joey B there? Are you hitting the panic button after this last week when he only had, what, I think 6 targets? Are we hitting the panic button on him and dropping him down to, say, mid-grade wide receiver two? Or are you just completely just going all out and just benching him?
I mean, I think with him, he's definitely more like a wide receiver two flex play at this point, which sucks going into the playoffs. Um, because we just don't know when you're going to get Joey B back. And without
Hmm.
Joey B, he's a wide receiver two flex.
Yeah,
Um, as hard as that is to say, it's true.
yeah,
So, I don't
and
know if
and
I'd
he's
quite
just
panic, but it's like you got to make a
yeah,
move to get a wide receiver one if you have him,
yeah,
and you're trying to contend because he's not going to do that for you with Brown
yeah. And I know it's rough for me because I have Joey B and Jamar Chase, so I not only lost my number one quarterback, but I lost my number one wide receiver as well. So I'm I'm kind of in a pickle right now as to what to do. Luckily, I had Trevor Lawrence on my team, but still, he doesn't have the best playoff matchups. So,
if schedule's okay.
my second, yeah, my second name was Trey McBride. Is he a starter, an actual lock from here on out?
I think he is. I mean, definitely with or towards the end of what's his name, Dobbs's tenure, who loves tight ends. He looked really good. He's been kind of up and down, but I do think he is worth starting every week.
Yeah,
He's a lock to start.
I
Just
think,
how good he is. I mean, in the last 3 games specifically, he's had no less than 7 targets,
yeah,
which is solid.
and I exactly. I like his usage when Dobbs was there, but also since Ertz left, he has
He's been
been
consistent.
pretty much the primary target for Dobbs and Kyler.
Yeah.
So, it's I like his usage. I like the amount of targets that he's been getting, although it has been kind of up and down. It's fairly consistently high. He either gets a very high amount of targets, like 12, 13, or it's like 7 targets, which for a tight end, 7 targets in a game is
That's
actually
what you
pretty
want
nice.
at this point. With how
Yeah,
bad the tight end world is, like if you can get
exactly.
15 targets a game at worst,
Mhm.
you're there for
I
it.
would, I would rank him next year as a top 10 tight end.
Oh, for sure.
Easy,
I
easy.
think he's currently a top 10. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, I
He's
don't
just
know if he is.
outside. He's 12 right now.
Then yeah, I would probably rank him like a top 7, top 8 maybe
Oh, yeah. I
tight
think he
end
can push it for sure.
easily. If he keeps getting this usage and Ertz doesn't come back. So that's the one issue is if Ertz comes back next year and takes over his starting position, or at least takes some of those targets away from him. Um, okay, well, though
Time to
that's
dream.
pretty much it for our big questions.
Yeah. It's time to dream.
Let's go into our dream lineups. Josh. Josh went how I thought Josh was going to go at quarterback.
Yeah.
Um,
One,
he's
two.
going with Tua at Washington. I think that's a good matchup. Washington has a really kind of squishy defense, and I think Tua's going to blow them apart.
Yeah.
Ethan, you pick your weekly pick at
Go
quarterback.
to Jalen.
Jalen Hurts.
Man, okay? I don't want to
Yeah,
hear any crap. Jalen is the freaking guy.
he is the guy. Um,
You're not the guy.
so
I'm the guy.
and now facing San Francisco's defense, they've been kind of the last couple of weeks. So I think he could take advantage of that. And there's always the tush
Yeah, but
push.
Jalen's
So
been. unbelievable all year.
Yeah,
I'm not.
he has. He has been. I mean, what? He has 10 touchdowns. I think I looked and he has enough touchdowns for every single game he's been in.
Let's see here. He has
Because he has like 3 games where he has two rushing touchdowns.
13, 18 passing touchdowns and 11 rushing touchdowns. 18 passing and 11 rushing touchdowns
Dang.
for
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts.
that boy, that
He,
tush push is a monster.
he's eating.
So yeah, he is. I'm going with a quarterback that will either give me the win this week or burn me real bad. Um, I'm going Dak Prescott
You.
versus Seattle.
That's
I
always a good
know
matchup.
He's been hot the last couple of weeks.
Seattle and
I
Cowboys
think
is always good.
I'm sorry.
I said the Seattle and Cowboys game is always good.
Yeah. See, I think he's hot. I'm riding the streak, but I really think Dak could put up some decent points this game. Let's go on to our running back one. Um, Mine is Brees Hall versus Atlanta.
Well,
Yeah.
kind of fair.
Hmm?
I mean, I just said that I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Atlanta
I
has
mean
been kind of hot and cold.
he's been a 3 down back for them for I mean the last couple of weeks. He's been getting a lot of usage. So
Oh yeah, I
I'm just
understand.
confident that he's going to take that step up against Atlanta because I mean, he's being used in the run game as well as the passing game. Very well utilized in the passing game. So,
I'm on the
um,
opposite side of that.
yeah,
So I'm
you
taking
got.
Bijan
Mhm.
Mustard.
All
I
right,
mean, he's finally
Bijan
getting that
Mustard.
usage, so just keep it rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Josh has ETN versus Cincinnati.
But
I think
I
that's a
get
solid
that. Like,
matchup.
Cincy's run defense hasn't been great, but their pass
Yeah,
rush has been
yeah.
crazy. And their
Which I
second,
think they could definitely bail out of, you know,
this is a game where I don't want
yeah,
Calvin.
yeah, they could bail out of that pass rush and get ETN. So, okay, let's go on to our wide receiver or running
RB2.
back two.
So Josh
Man,
has Pacheco.
yeah, Pacheco versus Green Bay. I think that's a
That's
solid
super
pick.
solid. Yeah, Green Bay
That's
is
a solid pick.
to running backs.
I think their offense is struggling right now, and I think they could take advantage of that and just
Yeah, you
run
need
it
a little
down their
run game,
throat.
open things up.
Yeah. So, although I think we had Pacheco as an RB1,
Mm-mm.
but we'll let it slide. Yeah,
We
I had
didn't
him as an RB1. Okay. So,
because we've used it the
Tyron,
last 2 weeks as
yeah.
flexes, RB2s.
Okay. Your RB2. Go ahead.
Kyron.
Yeah, Kyron. I think
I
that's
think
a
we need to
cheat,
make him,
but
and I think we need to adjust
he
him
is an RB.
to
He's an RB1. He's an RB1.
yeah, I think I'll swap out Pacheco
That's a cheat.
just because I do think he is an RB1.
Unless you want to go Kyron for Bijan.
No, I definitely want Bijan this week.
Okay.
I'll go
All right.
Pacheco
Then
as
go ahead
well.
and modify that. Okay, you go Pacheco as
Yeah.
your RB2.
hmm
I'm gonna go with Rashad White
I have him as
as
one.
my RB2 versus Carolina. I think that's a good matchup for him. Carolina's been uber squishy
When he's their
on
entire
their. Yeah, he is. He has been their entire team. He's been ugh, all over the field. Um, and which kind of hurts me because I sold him this year.
Mhm.
Um, so it was a little rough, but that's all right. Our wide receiver one, mine, well, actually both of ours, mine
Yeah.
and yours, and Josh's, all
And Juju.
Tyreek
Yep.
Hill. So we got Tyreek Hill versus Washington.
Tyreek, and more
So
Tyreek.
Josh has that Tua Tyreek stack, which could be really dangerous. Um, our wide receiver, or mine wide receiver two is Devontae Smith versus San Fran.
I'm going Tank.
I mean,
Big Tank.
huh?
I'm going
Oh
Tank.
yeah, big.
Tell me why you like that matchup
What against? Oh
against San
yeah,
Fran.
Devontae versus San Fran.
Mhm.
San Fran's defense has been fairly solid, but their passing defense has been like Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling Jalen Hurts is going to take advantage of that and make them bite on the run and hit them deep. So um, that's my wide receiver too. You got Tank. Um,
Yeah, I don't think
surprisingly,
I do not think
surp-
Surtain's going to follow Tank. So I really
yeah,
like the matchup.
okay, yeah. I mean that is a good matchup. I mean it's kind of a toss up to see like who will benefit from
I mean, I
this
honestly think
matchup,
the
like
Texans
either Nico Collins or Tank
are going to.
Dell.
Oh no, I think Texans are going to blow out Denver
Yeah.
because I
Okay.
think Surtain's going to be with Nico on the outside, and Tank's going to kind of float around. So
Yeah.
he'll be mixed with their nickel corner, and I think their corner too. Because I honestly doubt Sertan's going to follow him.
Okay. Okay.
But it'll be interesting if he
Yeah,
does.
I get that. I could see that happening. Um,
Which has Pickens against Arizona.
yeah, I don't necessarily agree with
Yeah,
that,
I
but good luck to him.
yeah,
I
good
don't
luck.
know. I don't know if Pickens is gonna be getting the targets.
I
I
mean, the
really
offense
don't.
is finally moving, so maybe there's a
It's
little bit.
finally moving, but it Deontay Johnson has kind of taken over that wide receiver one.
Well, what's unfortunate is Pickens is a wide receiver one who's just getting no recognition, and it's
Yeah.
just it's frustrating at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's getting no recognition, but he's not getting the targets. That's
Yeah,
the issue. So, um, I think this is the first time since we started doing this,
we've
since the
all had.
beginning of the year, that we've all had different tight ends.
Yep, we do indeed.
And I want to say hoorah to us
Yeah, we
for
did good.
actually thinking differently, other than going with like Kelsey the whole time. Not no offense, Josh.
Unlike
He's a
someone,
solid
not
pick.
naming names, Josh.
No, no, but Josh got Kelsey versus Green Bay, which I think is
It's
a
not good, not bad.
good. It's a good matchup. You have Laporta. Who are they playing this week?
The Saints.
Saints. Actually, yeah, that's a decent matchup.
The Saints defense has been
And
bad for the last couple of
mhm,
weeks. Like they're still ranked
yeah,
high, but they have not been playing well.
yeah, yeah. And I'm kind of riding the high of George Kittle. Him. He's been doing well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Um,
dude, I just
so
that dude
I'm
is
hoping he does something against Philly.
and his they
But
just did like a little docu-series between him and his wife, which is
mhm.
worth
Yeah,
watching.
that was
They
cute.
have like a little pregame routine every week and like how they met. He was like a dorky little
Yeah,
freshman in Iowa, and she was like the star basketball player. It's worth checking out.
yeah, it
Some
is. It
post.
is. I saw like clips of it and I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
Um, okay, our last two flex positions. Let's just go off name right after another. Mine is Garrett Wilson versus Atlanta
Mm-hmm.
and Brandon Ayuk versus Philly.
Well,
So, yeah.
I'm going Rashad White. You have him as your running back two against Carolina,
Mhm.
and then I had Ramondre, and Ramondre's playing. Oh, sorry, let me pull it up. Chargers. Chargers.
Yeah, see, I had Ramondre before I switched to Ayuk. It was
That's
kind of a toss up for me.
it's just
I could have
matchups.
taken either
Both are good
one,
matchups. Yeah.
but yeah, I like the matchup with Ramondre, and I like that he's actually being used in that
Josh is
offense now. So Josh's is really interesting. He's got Cortland Sutton versus Houston
yeah.
and
It's fair.
Taysom Hill versus Detroit. Now I know I did read that they were definitely going to be without Michael Thomas,
Mm-hmm.
and they might be without Olave.
Yeah, he's still in
And that
contract.
so Taysom Hill could could be used. Like
A lot.
that
Yeah.
could be really interesting,
Because their whole team is going to be
especially
premier.
because well, especially because Rasheed Rice is also out. Like their
Or
whole wide receiving
Shaheed.
core.
Shaheed.
Oh, it's right. Yeah, no, sorry, not Rasheed Rice. Rashid
Yeah, every
Shaheed.
Chiefs fan just gasped audibly.
Sorry, Rashid Shaheed is out too. So that's going to be really interesting.
That's brutal.
Um, yeah,
They're
I'm.
about to get
Oh,
slammed, dude, by Detroit. Like the Saints are
yeah.
about to get a righteous whooping.
That's why I'm starting Gibbs this week because I have a feeling that him and Monty are going to absolutely eat.
Well, yeah, because once they go up 21-0, they're just gonna run the ball for the rest of the game. So
Exactly.
your whole offense is
Exactly.
Kamara, and then you have Lynn Bowden is gonna be your wide receiver one. A.T. Perry is gonna be your wide receiver two, and then probably Keith Kirkwood is your wide
Yeah,
receiver three. And then you
that's
do have
crazy.
Juwan Johnson, but Juwan Johnson's banged up too. So
Yeah.
other than that, you only have Taysom.
Yep. So I think that's a decent pick. It's hit or miss.
Oh
So
yeah, it's
that
a
is
thing
that is a
rush
big risk.
because their
But
offense could literally not move a single yard the
but
entire
I mean but I mean Taysom Hill is the ultimate cheat code, like Madden cheat code.
like
I
positional,
yeah,
like
position
matchup
wise. You can
position.
put
Like,
yeah, you can put him in and he could absolutely destroy. Absolutely destroy.
didn't he go after Bryce Young like a week or two ago when he's like,
Oh, I don't know.
QB's like my third position. It's really not that hard to not throw picks. He went after somebody. I can't remember if it was Bryce Young or somebody else.
Ouch.
Absolutely
Ouch.
destroyed him.
That dude is, but he's just a straight athlete.
And I
He
I
can
picked
do
him up
pretty
the
much
next day.
everything.
I picked
Yeah.
him up the next.
So yeah, that is our
Drink.
dream lineups for the week. This is week 13. Thank y'all
And
for tuning
boy, we
in.
are 1 week out, Ryan, from a
Yeah.
special episode. It is the playoff
Yeah.
preview.
Oh, the playoff preview. That's right.
We'll be doing
Yeah,
that
I'm
next
looking
week
forward to that.
for our league.
Yeah, so
It'll be
we're going to
fun.
be doing that next week. Be looking for that. It's probably going to come out before our uh, our dream lineups for week 14.
Yeah,
So
it might be put together. It might be we
yeah,
talk. Yeah, I don't know. We'll
we
figure it out.
might. We'll
Play
let
with it.
Josh figure all that out. We'll just record it and let Josh sort it out. So just be looking for that in the coming weeks. We appreciate everything you guys do. Watching our podcast, supporting us. Um, so thank you for all of that. And you can find us at wherever you find your podcasts. Uh, what is it? Oh my gosh, Spotify, yeah, Apple Podcasts. We are on YouTube, and you can also find us at Last Place FP on Twitter, Instagram, yeah, all of our social medias. Yeah, so thank y'all, and thank you for watching our week 13 dream lineups. Ethan, go ahead,
Never
just
forget.
do it. Oh my God,
Sometimes you're right, and sometimes you're right. And just remember, I'm
the
2-0 against Ryan since Josh has left. 2 weeks straight that I've absolutely blown him out horrendously. It's not even
oh my
competition at
gosh,
this point.
you'd suck. This week's gonna change. Dak Prescott's got my back.
I'm gonna change. I'll be different.